Welcome to today's video, where we'll discuss the top 10 countries that love Israel in 2025. Israel has had strong international support over the years, and in 2025, we're seeing nations across the globe continue to stand by Israel. From historical ties, strategic partnerships, and shared democratic values, these countries have not only supported Israel, but have formed strong military, political, and economic alliances. But what makes these countries stand by Israel, especially in the context of ongoing Middle East tensions? Like, subscribe, and watch till the end to find out more about why these countries love Israel in 2025. Number 10. France. France's relationship with Israel is one of the most historically significant in Europe. France was one of the first Western countries to recognize Israel after its founding in 1948. And it has maintained a strategic alliance with the Jewish state ever since. In the post-World War II era, France's support was driven by shared values of democracy and its desire to promote peace in the Middle East. However, as time has progressed, France's support for Israel has been influenced by security concerns and counter-terrorism efforts. In 2025, France continues to be one of Israel's strongest European allies, particularly in defense cooperation. France and Israel work closely together on military technology, nuclear non-proliferation, and counterterrorism. French support for Israel comes with a moral imperative, as France has a significant Jewish population and views Israel as the safeguard of Jewish heritage and identity. Despite the occasional disagreements over settlements, France has remained steadfast in its backing of Israel's right to exist and defend itself against threats, including Iran and Hamas. In 2025, France also provides diplomatic support for Israel in global forums like the UN, particularly in opposition to the boycott, divestment, sanctions movement. Number 9. Georgia. Georgia's love for Israel can be traced back to historical ties and shared security interests. Georgia, located in the strategically important South Caucasus, has long viewed Israel as a key partner in the region, especially given the ongoing tensions with Russia. Israel's defense technology and expertise in areas like cybersecurity, intelligence gathering, and military training have made Israel a vital ally for Georgia, which sees Israel as a regional counterbalance to Russian influence. Georgia's strategic relationship with Israel deepened during the 2008 Russo-Georgian War, where Israel provided military assistance to Georgia. Since then, military cooperation between the two nations has strengthened, including the sharing of defense systems like the Iron Dome. By 2025, Georgia has become one of Israel's strongest supporters in the region, particularly due to their shared concerns over Iranian influence and security in the Caucasus. Emotionally, Georgia's relationship with Israel also stems from its desire to align with Western democracies and foster closer ties with the U.S. Georgia views Israel as a symbol of resilience, with its ability to defend itself despite its geographic challenges and regional threats. In 2025, Georgia remains a close partner of Israel, supporting its right to self-defense and sovereignty. Number 8. Australia. Australia's love for Israel is deeply embedded in its shared democratic values, historical ties, and support for Jewish communities. From Australia's support for Israel's founding in 1948 to its active participation in Israel's defense in the UN and global forums, Australia has consistently backed Israel's right to exist and defend itself. Australia views Israel as a beacon of democracy in a region plagued by instability and has emphasized Israel's right to self-defense against external threats. In 2025, Australia's support for Israel has only grown stronger, particularly in the face of Iranian aggression and the threats from Hamas and Hezbollah. Australia has also been one of Israel's strongest allies in the fight against terrorism, and defense cooperation between the two nations has expanded, with Australia purchasing military technology and intelligence sharing with Israel. Emotionally, Australia's commitment to Israel is also driven by a shared moral duty to protect the Jewish state and counter anti-Semitic movements globally. Australia's strong Jewish community has deep historical ties to Israel, and Israeli solidarity is viewed as crucial for both regional peace and global security. Australia's backing of Israel continues to be a core component of its foreign policy, particularly in opposing Iran's nuclear ambitions and anti-Israel rhetoric. Number 7. Canada. Canada has consistently supported Israel in the face of ongoing tensions in the Middle East, primarily due to its commitment to human rights, democracy, and shared values. Canada's foreign policy has been one of unwavering support for Israel's right to exist and defend itself, particularly against Iranian-backed militant groups like Hezbollah. In 2025, Canada continues to be a strong advocate for Israeli security and sovereignty in the UN and other international forums. Canada's historical support for Israel dates back to 1948, with Canada being one of the first countries to recognize the State of Israel. In 2025, the Canadian government remains an active partner to Israel, providing military assistance, diplomatic support, and cooperation in defense. Canada also plays a key role in advocating for Israeli rights on the global stage and has been vocal about countering the BDS movement. Emotionally, Canada's support for Israel is rooted in a strong Jewish population and shared values of democracy and peace. Canada continues to support Israel's right to self-defense, especially in light of the growing threats from Iran and its proxies. In 2025, Canada remains committed to ensuring that Israel is protected from regional instability and global anti-Semitism. Number 6, Ukraine. Ukraine's support for Israel has been particularly strong since Russia's annexation of Crimea in 2014, which led Ukraine to reassess its alliances in the context of regional security. Ukraine sees Israel as a key ally in countering Russian aggression and has strengthened its military and diplomatic ties with the Jewish state. Ukraine and Israel share a mutual interest in defending their sovereignty against external threats, with Israel offering support in the form of military technology and counter-terrorism expertise. In 2025, Ukraine's commitment to Israel remains unwavering, particularly due to their common interests in opposing Russian and Iranian influence in Eastern Europe and the Middle East. Israel's support for Ukraine's territorial integrity in its ongoing conflict with Russia has deepened the bond between the two nations. Emotionally, Ukraine's relationship with Israel is rooted in historical solidarity between Jewish and Ukrainian communities. The shared experience of oppression under totalitarian regimes and the Holocaust has led to a deep sense of mutual understanding. Ukraine views Israel as an inspiration for resilience in the face of external threats, particularly as both nations have faced military occupations. As of 2025, Ukraine stands firmly with Israel, supporting its right to self-defense and maintaining strong ties in counterterrorism and regional security. Number 5, Greece. Greece's support for Israel has evolved in recent years, driven by shared strategic interests and a growing alignment in regional security concerns. Greece has increasingly aligned itself with Israel, particularly in its efforts to counter Iranian influence in the Mediterranean and Eastern Europe. The two nations have cooperated on energy projects, particularly in the East Mediterranean, where both have significant energy reserves and a mutual interest in protecting maritime routes. In 2025, Greece continues to back Israel diplomatically and militarily, particularly in the context of security against Iranian proxies and militant groups. Greece has been a key advocate for Israel's right to defend itself and has condemned Iran's missile tests and nuclear ambitions in the Middle East. Emotionally, Greece's support for Israel is also rooted in the shared cultural and historical ties of the Mediterranean region. Greece views Israel as a partner in the fight against terrorism and regional instability, particularly as both nations are surrounded by unstable regions. In 2025, Greece stands by Israel's side, emphasizing peace and cooperation as the primary means of ensuring regional stability. Number 4, Hungary. Hungary's relationship with Israel is largely driven by its political and ideological alignment with Israel's leadership. Under Prime Minister Viktor Orban, Hungary has pursued a strong pro-Israel stance, emphasizing shared values of democracy and national sovereignty. Hungary's support for Israel is part of its broader policy of resisting globalism and promoting sovereign national interests. In 2025, Hungary remains one of Israel's strongest supporters in Central Europe, advocating for Israeli security and its right to defend itself. Hungary has consistently opposed EU policies that are critical of Israel and has vetoed anti-Israel resolutions within the European Union. Hungary's stance is also motivated by historical ties to the Jewish community and a recognition of the need to protect Jewish heritage in Europe. Emotionally, Hungary sees Israel as a symbol of resistance against foreign interference and external threats. Hungary's support is also rooted in its desire to build stronger ties with Israel's military and technology sectors, enhancing defense capabilities and fostering economic cooperation. In 2025, Hungary continues to reject anti-Israel sentiment in Europe, aligning itself firmly with Israel on issues like Palestinian statehood and nuclear non-proliferation. Number 3. Germany. Germany's unwavering support for Israel is deeply rooted in history, particularly after the Holocaust, and remains central to its foreign policy. As one of the closest allies of Israel in Europe, Germany has provided military assistance, economic support, and diplomatic backing to Israel for decades. In 2025, Germany continues to be one of the most influential supporters of Israel, emphasizing Israel's right to exist and defend itself in the face of Iranian threats and terrorist organizations. Germany's commitment to Israel is driven by its moral responsibility stemming from its role in the Holocaust and the desire to ensure that Israel's security is never again compromised. Germany has consistently supported Israel's right to self-defense, particularly in Gaza and the West Bank, where Israel faces constant security challenges. Emotionally, Germany's support for Israel is rooted in its desire to prevent anti-Semitism and to foster a strong partnership in Europe and the Middle East. In 2025, Germany remains at the forefront of the EU's support for Israel, ensuring economic and diplomatic relations continue to strengthen. Number 2. India. India has increasingly become one of Israel's most important allies, driven by both strategic and economic interests. Israel's military technology and counterterrorism expertise are invaluable to India, particularly in its ongoing conflict with Pakistan and in dealing with terrorist groups like Lashkar-e-Taiba. Israel has provided India with advanced missile defense systems, drones, and cybersecurity technologies, making it a key partner in India's defense strategy. In 2025, India's support for Israel has grown stronger, with both countries collaborating on various military, intelligence, and counterterrorism initiatives. India views Israel as a crucial ally in securing its borders and countering Islamic extremism in the region. Emotionally, India's support for Israel also stems from the shared values of democracy and sovereignty. Both countries have faced military aggression from neighboring countries and understand the importance of defending national interests. India has increasingly aligned itself with Israel's position on Palestinian statehood and nuclear non-proliferation, positioning itself as one of Israel's closest allies in the fight against Iran and regional instability. Number 1. United States. The United States is Israel's most important ally and has been since the 1948 founding of Israel. U.S. support for Israel is deep-rooted in shared democratic values, military cooperation, and a strong historical relationship. Over the years, the U.S. has provided Israel with military aid, including advanced missile defense systems, intelligence sharing, and financial assistance. In 2025, the U.S. continues to provide Israel with over $3 billion in annual military aid and has supported Israel in its defense against Iran and terrorist organizations in Gaza and Lebanon. Emotionally, the U.S.-Israel relationship is deeply tied to shared values of democracy, freedom, and human rights. The U.S. views Israel as a vital ally in the Middle East and has consistently used its veto power at the UN Security Council to protect Israel from international censure. The United States also supports Israel's right to defend itself against Iranian-backed forces and sees Israel as a bulwark against terrorism and regional instability. In 2025, the U.S. continues to back Israel's security needs, ensuring it remains a leading force in the Middle East and counteracting Iranian aggression. The U.S. sees Israel's survival as essential to regional peace and global stability. These nations, driven by shared values, strategic interests, and historical alliances, have strongly supported Israel in its ongoing conflicts. As the Middle East faces continued volatility, these relationships remain critical. Like, comment, and subscribe for more insights into global geopolitics. See you next time.